I want you to walk into your kitchen and open the drawer next to your stove. Inside, there is likely a long, rectangular box with a serrated metal edge. Inside that box is a roll of shiny, silver material. Aluminum foil. It is a staple of the American kitchen. We have used it for decades. We wrap our leftovers in it. We cover our casseroles with it. And, most dangerously, we cook with it. We line our baking sheets with it to avoid scrubbing. We wrap our potatoes in it. We make little packets of fish with lemon and butter, wrap them tight in foil, and throw them in the oven or on the grill. It feels clean. It feels convenient. It makes cleanup a breeze. We have been told it is safe. We have been told it is just a harmless sheet of metal. I am here to have a very serious conversation with you about that shiny roll. I am here to tell you that when you heat aluminum foil, especially when you combine it with acidic foods like tomatoes, lemon, vinegar, or spices, you are creating a chemical reaction that leaches a potent neurotoxin directly into your dinner. You are not just eating baked salmon, you are eating baked aluminum. And for those of us over the age of 60, this is a critical health hazard. Our bodies, specifically our brains and our bones, are already fighting a battle against aging. We do not need to add a heavy metal that has been repeatedly linked to Alzheimer's disease, memory loss, and brittle bones into the mix. Today, we are going to expose the hidden dangers of cooking with foil. We are going to dive into the science of leaching, we are going to look at the terrifying ability of aluminum to cross the blood-brain barrier, and we are going to give you the simple, safe, and cheap alternatives, like parchment paper, that will protect your mind and your body without adding a single minute to your cleanup time. By the end of this video, you will understand why that silver roll belongs in the trash, or at least far away from your oven. To understand why this is a threat, we have to understand what aluminum actually is. It is a metal. It is the third most abundant element in the Earth's crust. Because it is everywhere in the soil, trace amounts of it are naturally found in vegetables and water. Our bodies have evolved to handle very tiny, trace amounts of aluminum. We have kidneys that filter it out. However, we have not evolved to handle the industrial concentrations of aluminum that we are exposed to in the modern world. We are not just getting it from the soil anymore. We are getting it from our deodorant, our toothpaste, our antacids, our baking powder, our water, and yes, our cookware. We are living in the aluminum age. The problem with cooking with foil is that it bypasses the body's natural defenses. When you cook with foil, you are engaged in a chemistry experiment. Aluminum is a reactive metal. It reacts to heat. It reacts to acid. It reacts to salt. Think about what you cook. You take a piece of fish. You squeeze lemon juice on it, acid. You sprinkle salt on it. You wrap it in foil and heat it to 400 degrees. This creates the perfect storm. The heat opens up the metal structure. The acid and the salt act as catalysts. They dissolve the aluminum ions from the foil and pull them into the food. A study published in the International Journal of Electrochemical Science found that cooking food in aluminum foil can increase the aluminum concentration of that food by up to 378% depending on the temperature and the acidity. Think about that number. You are nearly quadrupling the metal content of your meal. The researchers found that aluminum foil is not suitable for cooking, especially with acidic food. It is a clear warning. Yet, we still see recipes on TV telling us to do it. Why is aluminum dangerous for the brain? This is the question that keeps researchers up at night. Aluminum is a neurotoxin. This means it is poisonous to nerve tissue. It has absolutely no biological function in the human body. Your body needs iron, it needs zinc, it needs copper. It does not need aluminum. When aluminum enters your body doesn't know what to do with it. It tries to excrete it through the kidneys. But as we age, our kidney function naturally declines. We filter less efficiently. So, the aluminum stays. It accumulates. This is called bioaccumulation. Where does it go? It loves the brain. Specifically, it has the ability to cross the blood-brain barrier. The blood-brain barrier is a filtering mechanism of the capillaries that carry blood to the brain and spinal cord tissue, blocking the passage of certain substances. It is the wall that protects your brain from toxins. But aluminum is a master of disguise. It can mimic other necessary minerals, or it can simply force its way through. Once it is in the brain, it can stay there for years. In the brains of Alzheimer's patients, researchers have found high concentrations of aluminum. This has been a controversial topic for decades, but recent research using advanced imaging techniques has confirmed that aluminum is present in the amyloid plaques, the tangled protein clumps that are the hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. While we cannot say definitively that aluminum causes Alzheimer's, it is likely a complex mix of genetics and lifestyle. We can say with certainty that aluminum is a neurotoxin that promotes inflammation and oxidative stress in the brain. It accelerates the aging of the brain. It is like throwing sand into the gears of a precision watch. For a person over 60 who is worried about senior moments or cognitive decline, voluntarily ingesting a neurotoxin is a risk that simply does not make sense. But the brain is only half the story. We also need to talk about your bones. This is a massive concern for the senior population, especially women. Osteoporosis. Brittle bones. We take calcium supplements. We drink milk. We try to keep our skeleton strong to avoid hip fractures. But did you know that aluminum is an antagonist to calcium? It competes with calcium. When aluminum gets into your system, it settles in your bones. It takes up the space where calcium should be. It disrupts the mineralization process. It prevents your body from building new bone tissue. So, by cooking in foil, you are effectively weakening your own skeleton. You are displacing the good minerals with a toxic metal. If you are already dealing with osteopenia or osteoporosis, throwing away the aluminum foil is just as important as taking your vitamin D. You need to stop the intake of the bone-destroying agent. Let's look closer at the specific cooking methods that are the most dangerous. The grill packet is a favorite in the summer. You take vegetables, meat, and marinade, wrap them in foil, and throw them on the barbecue. The grill gets much hotter than an oven, often over 500 degrees. High heat accelerates the leaching process exponentially. And marinades are usually acidic: vinegar, tomato sauce, lemon juice. This is the worst-case scenario. You are serving your family a concentrated dose of metal. Another danger is the lasagna cover. You make a lasagna with acidic tomato sauce. You cover it with foil. The foil touches the cheese and the sauce. You bake it. When you pull it out, have you ever noticed that the foil has little holes in it? Or that there are black specks on the lasagna where the foil touched it? That is not pepper. That is dissolved aluminum. The acid in the tomatoes literally ate through the metal sheet. The metal that is missing from the sheet is now in your food. You ate it. We also need to discuss the battery effect. This happens when you use aluminum foil in conjunction with another metal, like a stainless steel baking sheet or a silver serving spoon. If you have a salty, acidic food, like lasagna, and you have aluminum foil touching a steel pan, you essentially create a rudimentary battery. A small electrical current flows between the two metals. This current drives the aluminum ions out of the foil and into the food at a much faster rate. This is called galvanic corrosion. If you have ever felt a little zing in your mouth when eating food that was stored in foil, or tasted something metallic, you are tasting the result of this chemical reaction. So, if foil is out, what do we use? Are we doomed to scrub pans for the rest of our lives? Absolutely not. The solution is elegant, safe, and used by professional chefs everywhere. It is called parchment paper. Parchment paper is made of cellulose, wood pulp, that has been treated with silicone. It is non-stick. It is heat resistant up to about 425 degrees Fahrenheit. It is chemically inert. It does not react with acid. It does not react with salt. It does not leach chemicals. You can line your baking sheets with it. You can roast vegetables on it. You can bake cookies on it. And when you are done, you crumple it up and throw it away. The pan underneath is clean. There is a French cooking technique called en papillote. It means, in parchment. You take your piece of fish, your lemon, your herbs, and your butter. You fold them inside a sheet of parchment paper, crimping the edges to seal it. You bake it. The paper puffs up with steam. The food cooks gently in its own juices. It is delicious, it is healthy, and it is 100% aluminum-free. You get the convenience of the foil packet without the brain damage. For covering dishes, like that lasagna, use a lid. If your casserole dish came with a glass lid, use it. If not, you can buy universal silicone lids that suction onto any bowl or dish. Or, simply place an oven-safe dinner plate upside down over the pot. If you absolutely must use foil to cover something because you need the flexibility, put a layer of parchment paper down first. Let the parchment touch the food, and let the foil sit on top of the parchment to hold the heat. Create a barrier. Never let the metal touch the meal. We also need to look at your cookware. It is not just the foil. Many seniors are still using old aluminum pots and pans. Not the modern anodized aluminum, which is harder and safer, but the old, soft, pitted aluminum pots from the 1970s. If you have a pot that is gray, dull, and pitted, has little holes in the bottom, that pot is leaching aluminum every time you boil water. The pitting is evidence of the metal dissolving. You need to replace these. Stainless steel, cast iron, or enameled cast iron, like Le Creuset, are the safe choices. They are stable. They don't react. I want to address the safe limit argument. You might hear people say, the World Health Organization says a certain amount of aluminum is safe. And that is true. There is a tolerable weekly intake. But here is the problem, most of us are already exceeding that limit without even cooking with foil. We are getting it from processed cheese, which uses sodium aluminum phosphate as an emulsifier. We are getting it from cake mixes. We are getting it from municipal tap water where alum is used as a clarifying agent. We are getting it from antacids. Because we are bombarded with aluminum from sources we cannot control, it is vital that we eliminate the sources we can control. Cooking with foil is a voluntary exposure. It is an optional toxin. By removing it, you are lowering your total body burden. You are giving your kidneys a break. You are increasing your margin of safety. Let's talk about storage. Is it safe to wrap cold food in foil? Generally, yes. If you wrap a cold turkey sandwich in foil for lunch, the risk is very low. The reaction requires heat to really get going. However, even in the fridge, if the food is highly acidic, like a cut lemon or a tomato pasta, the aluminum will eventually degrade over a few days. The foil will turn black or dissolve. So, for acidic leftovers, use glass containers. Glass is the king of storage. It never reacts. It never stains. It never leaches. I also want to touch on the environmental aspect, because I know many of you care about the planet you are leaving for your grandchildren. Aluminum foil is technically recyclable, but it is rarely recycled because it is contaminated with food. It ends up in landfills. Parchment paper is biodegradable. It breaks down. By switching, you are doing a small kindness for the earth as well as your brain. There is a psychological shift that needs to happen here. We associate foil with easy. We associate it with mom's cooking. Changing a habit of 40 years is hard. You might reach for the foil automatically. You have to retrain yourself. Move the foil to a high shelf where it is hard to reach. Put the parchment paper in the easy-to-reach drawer. Make the safe choice the easy choice. Let's discuss the specific issue of antacids again, because this is often the partner to the bad diet. Many seniors suffer from heartburn. They take liquid antacids or chewable tablets. Many of these contain aluminum hydroxide. If you are cooking in aluminum foil and then taking an aluminum-based antacid for the heartburn caused by the food, you are getting a double dose. Check your labels. Look for calcium-based or magnesium-based antacids instead. Do not intentionally swallow metal to soothe your stomach. What about deodorants? This is another major source. Antiperspirants use aluminum salts to plug your sweat ducts. You apply this to your underarms, near lymph nodes and breast tissue. While the link to breast cancer is still debated, the absorption of aluminum through the skin is real. If you are trying to reduce your aluminum load to protect your brain, switching to an aluminum-free deodorant is a sensible, precautionary step. But let's bring it back to the kitchen, because that is where you make decisions 3 times a day. Let's role-play a dinner preparation. You want to roast some vegetables, potatoes, carrots, onions. The old way, you tear off a sheet of foil. You line the pan. You toss the veggies in oil and salt. You roast them. The bottom of the vegetables sits in a pool of oil and dissolved aluminum. You throw the foil away. The new way, you tear off a sheet of parchment paper. It curls up a bit, a little annoying, I know. Crumple it up into a ball first, then flatten it out, and it will lay flat. You line the pan. You roast the vegetables. They caramelize beautifully, actually better than on foil because parchment breathes a little. You throw the paper away. The pan is clean. Your brain is safe. It is a simple swap. It costs about the same. Parchment paper is available at the dollar store, the grocery store, everywhere. There is no economic barrier to making this change. I want to talk about the cumulative effect. You might think, I've used foil once a week for years and I'm fine. And you might be. The human body is resilient. But heavy metal toxicity is a slow game. It doesn't happen overnight like food poisoning. It takes decades. It is the straw that breaks the camel's back. You might be fine at 60, but what about at 80? What about when your kidney function drops another 20%? Why add to the load? Why test your body's limits? Prevention is about removing risks before they become symptoms. There is also a concern about the interaction of aluminum with other metals in the body, like copper and iron. Aluminum can disrupt the delicate balance of these essential minerals in the brain. This imbalance is another driver of oxidative stress. By keeping aluminum out, you help your body regulate the good minerals effectively. Let's review the Safe Kitchen Protocol for the 60-plus chef. The purge, throw away, or recycle your aluminum foil if you can't trust yourself not to cook with it. Or move it to the cold storage only area. The upgrade, buy a roll of unbleached parchment paper. Buy a set of glass storage containers, Pyrex or similar, for leftovers. The check, look at your pots. If they are pitted aluminum, replace them with stainless steel. The method, learn the en papillote method for fish. It is elegant and healthy. The scrutiny, read labels on baking powder, buy aluminum-free, and antacids. This is not about living in fear. It is about living with intention. It is about upgrading your operating system. We used lead paint in our houses until we knew better. We used asbestos until we knew better. We smoked in airplanes until we knew better. Now, we know better about aluminum and heat. It is time to evolve. Think about your brain. It holds your memories. It holds the face of your mother, the day of your wedding, the smell of your first car. It holds your personality. It is the most precious thing you own. It is worth more than the convenience of a disposable metal sheet. Protect it. Do not let it become a storage depot for a metal it doesn't need. So, tonight, when you make dinner, leave the foil in the drawer. Reach for the parchment paper or the glass dish. It is a small act of rebellion against the easy way, and a massive act of love for your future self. You are cooking for longevity now. Cook smart. Thank you for listening. This information is a tool. Use it to build a safer kitchen and a stronger body. Share this with your friends who are still grilling on foil packets. You might just help them remember your name in 20 years. Stay safe, cook clean, and keep your mind sharp.